Hello, my name is Cliffor Gionet. I'm an author from Gainesville, Florida, and I've written 2 books. The first is called Argonaut, the Innuwa Humpback. The second is called Angel in Peril. The journey to get to the point of writing these 2 books began back in 2009 with the death of my 31-year-old son. His name was Jason. That loss was devastating, traumatic, the end of life as I knew it. I wasn't sure there was anything else to live for. In 2011, my wife and I took a trip to a tiny little town on the northeast corner of Vancouver Island called Telegraph Cove. We found an expedition company that offered a week-long tour into the marine sanctuary abutting Telegraph Cove. We arrived to this beautiful house overlooking the Johnstone Strait and spent the next 6 days going out each morning into the marine sanctuary. Breaching humpback whales, pod of orca, schools of dolphins, sea lions, eagles. It is stunning scenery. One of the people on the boat was a marine biologist hired by the tour company to teach us about global warming, pollution, rising ocean temperatures, and rising sea levels. She made a lasting impression on us. On the last night of that trip, at the last dinner, I told her about the loss of my son. My son had been a champion swimmer, an incredible singer, and his ashes were in the ocean. This wonderful woman, in her infinite wisdom, connected the dots. She said, singer, swimmer, humpback whales. Between our leaving Telegraph Cove and arriving back in Gainesville, she renamed a whale Argonaut. If you remember your Greek legends, Jason and the Argonauts and the search for the Golden Fleece is famous. She named the whale Argonaut in honor of my son. To the best of my knowledge, he's the only humpback whale in the world named after a person. In 2013, my wife and I and a group of friends had a chance to go back to Telegraph Cove, to the same location with the same tour company. The very first day as we left the harbor, the very first creature we saw was Argonaut. Throughout the entire week, Argonaut would swim in front of the boat, beside the boat, feed, breach, and just have a great time. The sanctuary is exactly that. It provides all the animals with freedom from fishing, hunting, any dangers except boat strikes. We watched Argonaut in awe until the last day of the trip as we were preparing to leave. Argonaut turned to the northeast and swam towards mainland Canada. Just then, a beautiful rainbow arced across the sky, framing Argonaut's tail. Now, Argonaut has a perfectly formed A on his tail. Every humpback whale has a unique tail, but Argonaut is easily spotted wherever he migrates. I knew there was the beginning of a story here, but it wasn't quite formed. In 2015, we went to a different part of Northwest Canada, a place called Spirit Bear Lodge. I first learned about the spirit bear from National Geographic in 2010. I thought, I need to see this. The spirit bear is a white black bear. It's the product of recessive genes. It's not an albino. It is said that if you ever see a spirit bear, you will never forget. The story is true. On our trip, we had an opportunity to spend 2 full days close to a young spirit bear. We watched him fishing, not very successfully, searching for food, and just having a wonderful time. Beginning in 2019, the idea of Argonaut, the humpback, all the different wildlife of the marine sanctuary, and the spirit bear began to coalesce. There is something magical about this place. And so I studied and studied and studied, searching for a concept that I could use to bring all of this together. And the concept is Innuwa. Inua is a concept found in many different cultures, all the way from Australia to the eastern shore of North America to the western shore of North America. I try to think of a way to explain it to people. The closest I can come is perhaps a shaman, or in Christianity, an angel. An Inua can read minds, use telepathy, portend the future. So in this young adult genre series of books, Argonaut learns to develop his Inua powers, and he uses it for the purpose of good. He negotiates compromise, peace, he avoids confrontation, he saves other creatures, he develops a close personal relationship with Jason Beliveau, who happens to be from where my family is from, in New Brunswick, Canada. As the stories develop, more and more characters are introduced, relying on the benefits of the wisdom of the Inua. The thing I am most proud of in both of these books is the introduction of a concept called Project Hope. It is started by a group of 5 Kitasoo Hehe First Nation young adults. The concept is arrived after a trip aboard the Orcella II, where they get to experience the wonders of the natural environment that they live in. Project Hope is founded to develop ways of saving planet Earth. Hope stands for Help Our Planet Exist. From a humble beginning to the end of the second book, more than 30 million people joined this fictitious, and I hope to be someday realized, group. Powerful, influential, young people work hard to make an effort to save the world. COVID-19 is in the books, pollution, global warming, ideas of how to save the world, all centered around what these young people are doing. There are introduction of many characters and many different wonderful animals. The first book in the early pages centers on the geography and geology and marine biology facts of the Straits of Vancouver Island. Later in that first book, we begin to see how Argonaut can interact with other people, first using a computer and his friend Jason Beliveau, and then eventually solely with his Inua talents. He grows and grows to his full size of over 60,000 pounds. They have a son named Raven. As I said earlier, the 2 most dangerous things that can happen to a humpback whale is first to be struck by a boat, but more dangerous is to be wrapped in a net or fishing line. I won't give you the storyline, but the story of Raven involves great danger. Argonaut and his human friends have to save Raven. In the second book, Angel in Peril, a foreign government thinks that there are magical whales in British Columbia. They seek to kidnap a whale. They don't care which one because they don't know who has powers and who doesn't. They take Angel. Argonaut is forced to use many different resources to save his mate. Friends in the Coast Guard, the United States government, military, but primarily his sea mammal friends. Excitement, drama, no gratuitous violence, more peaceful negotiation, education, fun. I've had responses from 8-year-old children to 92-year-old adults. I think there's a broad appeal for this type of book that is not offensive, but rather educational, entertaining, and I think if you buy it, read it, you will enjoy it. I have some questions that you can answer. How many spleens does a humpback whale have? Does a humpback whale sleep? Is an orca really a whale? What's the difference between a resident and a transient orca? What do humpback whales eat? Why do humpback whales migrate? Why do some whales beach themselves, and many die. All these and more questions are answered in these books, but not in a textbook fashion, but in a way that seems to fulfill the destiny of the animals that you will meet in the books. I think it is worth your time. They are both available on Kindle, either in an ebook or paperback version. The illustrations were done by a good friend of mine, and I thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. If you have any questions, you can email me at argonauthumpback@gmail.com. Thank you.